Welcome back. As we said, we are right way back for a match. We're still in round 10, and this is gonna be the matchup between Yoshiyuki, which against Wataru Asada. So two players from Japan playing actually the same deck, Mewtwo, Malamar. What do you think about this Mewtwo and Malamar contraption that try to Frankenstein two of the best decking formats together?
I think it's really nice. We saw it on stream earlier a little bit with the Marnie Nightwatch combo being really good, and yeah, the early game plan with Turban and with Gengar Mimikyu getting some momentum and then converting that into a snowballing early advantage by using Marnie Nightwatch consistently to just make your opponent dead draw. And yeah, I guess if your opponent can't play the game, then that's the easiest way to win.
The way you win. Excellent. It's a very excellent description of the deck, to be fair. The Trevenant and Dusk Noir is very oppressive, and Marnie is the great addition to the deck. That also needs some setup, so it's kind of better than Judge. Gives you one more card, and at the same time, you're able to disrupt this deck, for example, such as Mill or ADP Zashan, which needs a lot of cards to function. So here we are starting, and wow, look at that start.
Yeah, that's actually really good with the Inkcase and the potential to get another Inkcase as well. So, yeah, I always think Malamar mirrors in general are really interesting because you hit the Mewtwo Mew, it gets hit for weakness by one Prizer, for example.
Indeed,
you have to consider that. You have to consider spreading damage or sniping around. So really, it's up to you which route you take. In the Malamar Spelltech Mirror, it's always giving me kind of a headache because you have to play around
Exactly,
so many things.
exactly. You need to be mindful of the Blacephala, you need to be mindful of the spell tag, you need to be mindful of the snipe in the bench.
But this should be a little bit easier to
So
follow.
obviously, we're sorry about the quality. Of course, this person is streaming from Japan all the way there. I don't think there are servers in Japan even for PTCGO. So we just need to be patient and endure with it. So here's the start. Look at that. He can even get a second Inkay on turn 1 in the bench.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's what you want to see exactly. Yeah, I think the early game decisions, what to bench and what to search and what to look, is like really crucial. So he's taking his time to look for that. But yeah, they both have like different attackers, or like play different variants a little bit. So it's not the exact same 60, but yeah, the general idea of the deck is the same. So you see the first look through the deck, and yeah, stuff like Trevenant does not is a really good attacker here, I believe, because it's not psychic weak and it does a reasonable amount of damage and it goes well with your general game plan of disrupting your opponents. So setting that up early is really good.
Big charm too to make it even thicker. Gonna be hard to take down this guy.
But I don't know if I actually like grabbing that here, because now you basically say, okay, I can't attack turn 2 no matter what. Because you have no energy drop and there are no 2 Inkcase down.
Look at that, even a great catcher to stall it up. Of course, Yoshiyuki has a switch in hand, but look at that. Great catcher discarding a Titanizer. It's often to see in these Japanese decks, which have a different format for us, so they think also differently regarding the game, that they play sometimes discard, which are not maybe too efficient, because Titanizer you could play Cynthia, for example, you can play Marnie. But it gives you these extra options, so they have a very different view on the meta. We see him going for the Dene turn 1. He needs to get those Inkay in the bench. At the same time, it should be said that this Dene is sort of a liability. Because as long as it stays there...
It's being able to... It's getting knocked out pretty easily with just a great catcher Nightwatch, and then you just need one more damage counter from something like a Giratina, for example. And also, if you can set up something so it has only 10 HP remaining, that gives you the potential to sometimes skip some price.
Indeed. And even late game, you can snipe it with the Venom shot from Naganadel GX. So it's a very big liability, but well, we actually see Wataru going for a Tyrant and Dusk of his own, and he still hasn't played a supporter, I believe. He just discarded those with the Dene. There's another Inkay. Does he have also supporter? Wow!
Yeah, that's research for 7. Imagine
beautiful,
high 5.
beautiful.
Research with the empty hand.
Look at that. And now he needs to decide what he wants to go for. Obviously, both players decided to took out that Trevenant and Dusknoir early on because it's probably the best attacker in this matchup. As we said, it doesn't have psychic weakness, and it's very, very tanky. As well, it has the plus of controlling your opponent's hand and maybe mess with their energies.
Also, yeah, like something like a Gengar Mimikyu that can take one-shots is also really scary, but that's something that can be charged up easily in one turn. So if you get down the Trevenant Dusknoir early, that's really what you want to see, because they need 3 energy, so you probably want to charge them up over multiple turns in the early game if you don't have access to all of those psychic recharges and psychic energy in the discard pile.
See Yoshiyuki going for that research, and look at that draw. There's actually an Absol in Yoshiyuki deck. I really like this.
Yeah, I was
Against
just about
Malamar,
to talk
it's a
about
great
it.
attack.
Yeah, that's
But
super
however, his hand, no energies.
that always kind of sucks to see if you don't have any energy cards. Like you in Malamar, it's like you don't want to play a lot of energies because you are able to get them back with psychic recharge anyway, right? And it's really easy. Just keep them coming every single turn. But if you are not able to find them in the early game, then that doesn't matter because if they're not in the discard pile, you don't have any access to them. So yeah, really unfortunate right there.
See, he goes for a tackle. Let's see what he wants to go for. Or just grabbing that Gengar Mimikyu. Do you think he will go for a Dedenne this turn? Is it an important play to get this energy on the board?
If you go for the Denner, you are foregoing the Absol, probably. But I think you have to, because otherwise you will fall behind in momentum a lot. And maybe maybe it's fine to not go for it because you already committed to not attacking this turn anyway. But yeah, as we see, he grabs the Dedenne, probably seeing that as well. Like, you need those energies, right? If you're not attacking, then your opponent can just Money Night watch away at you, and then you have no response to that.
Indeed, and Wataru as well missed his own energy attachment for the turn. But the difference is that Wataru has 2 psychic energies already in the discard. Which is gonna mean if he finds the energy, he will be able to attack next turn. So let's see where this leads, because at the moment it's very unclear who's in the lead and who's not. And both players have the opportunity of using Naganadel GX, which is the most swing-back Pokemon right now that you can access.
The problem with Naganadel, right, is that it requires the snipe requires 4 energy, right? That's super hard to charge up, and also
yeah, I'm talking about the Stinger GX one, the one that puts
yeah.
both players to free prizes. But you're right in saying that it's dangerous because Mewtwo has psychic weakness.
Yeah.
Let's see where this leads. We see Yoshiyuki finally was able to find an energy thanks to that Viridian Forest. And actually in the hand he drew did not have a single energy. So even literally by the last train.
Classic
And...
Malamar, turn 3 of the game, we see the first energy attachment and 1 Malamar in play. Sorry, I'm really sorry, but...
No, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. It's Malamar. You're not sorry for that. So let's see if he decides to save this Jirachi. That would, however, imply that he needs to puts another Pokemon in the active. And now Wataru can actually capitalize on this. Taking off the Jirachi off the board for a Malamar against a Malamar, it's really important. It can really mean the difference of the game because taking away the Jirachi is 1 less card each turn and 1 free retreat, especially each turn.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Wataru will need to hit a lot of cards if he wants to be able to go for a Night Watch. But if he gets the Night Watch, then that will be really devastating because Yoshiyuki only has 2 cards in hand, right? And
Indeed.
if the Jirachi gets knocked out as well, he's going to be relying only on his top deck. And yeah, if Wataru is able to Night Watch here, that would be so devastating. The game would probably be over if Yoshiyuki isn't able to top deck anything. So yeah, really scary position. Maybe Yoshiyuki just overextending a little bit on his last turn. Because if you leave yourself that vulnerable versus the Night Watch, then yeah, you're basically just letting it come down to
Indeed,
luck.
indeed. And exactly, there it is. That's the second Malamar, which is gonna... I think that was the energy from hand that he attached, and he also has the Viridian Forest in any case.
Yeah,
So
also
yeah,
putting
that's
down
gonna be
the
a Night
Viridian
Watch.
Forest for your opponent seems. I
That's
mean,
very
I
scary.
know you want to guarantee the energy attachment, right? But putting down your Viridian Forest and also putting yourself in a position where if you get Night Watched, you're left without anything. That's really dangerous. So yeah, we see the Night Watch shuffling back the research. Also, the Jirachi gets knocked out, so yeah, no, it all comes down to the top deck. If there
Indeed,
is a
let's see.
supporter,
Oh, no, 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 no. That's
I
not the
mean, at
card you
least
want.
it's an energy, so he
He
will
can
be able to
attack with his
attack.
own, to be fair. He can attack with his Trevenant and Dusknar. Scars the energy with the Viridian. Just reattaches it, and then free retreat thanks to the air balloon. But
Yeah,
that's not too much, to be fair.
I mean, at least you attack, and also I believe Wataru is almost out of draw supporters. There are like 4 Mani and 3 Research and 1 Tate and
Yep,
Liza in his
yep.
discard pile. So it's not like yeah, there's not a lot of draw on Wataru's side left either. So both players might be stuck for just a few turns, but yeah, if you have cards in hand, you're definitely in a better position
Not
than.
having none, yes, I'm being stuck to the relegated to the top deck. So obviously here, Yoshiyuki could go for the GX. I think that's actually the better choice because you risk it a lot in next turn if the opponent GX is you. So you need to make
Yeah,
that as unlikely as possible.
if you have no cards in hand and you get GX, then yeah, that's basically that is really really bad as you said. So I
So he
didn't
needs to
didn't
hope that
consider that. Yeah.
Ataru does not have any switching effect. Because if he does, that's going to mean he's going to get GX of his own, and that's going to be very, very hard to get out of. But let's remember that Pale Moon GX also knocks out the Pokemon after one turn, which means that if the Pokemon remains in the active, it gets knocked out, but if it goes to the bench, instead the effect is removed.
Yeah, then the GX attack really feels kind of wasted if they are able to switch out of the Pale Moon.
Indeed.
But if you get that they get knocked out, coming back into your turn, that's just so huge. Like if you can take a knockout when when it's your turn once again, that's just an amazing swing of momentum. And as you said,
Indeed.
yeah, it's the only choice.
He needs a
For the
miracle
Pale
right
Moon.
now. There's no other way out of this. And he does go for that GX, discarding all the energies from that Trevenant and Duskma. So let's see
Yeah,
how he can line up plays now.
yeah. If Wataru has a switch, then there's the switch. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah, yeah.
exactly what he was looking for. Two Malamas set up.
Yoshiyuki in a sticky situation.
Yeah, if you get GX back right here, then you basically need to top deck and draw into everything.
He's not going to be able to attack as well next turn because he only has one Malamar down. He needs to draw a supporter. There's no other
Yeah,
way.
he needs the research. That's the only card he can top deck, or like a money maybe.
Yes.
But yeah.
Let's see. He does go and reattaches all the energy to the Trevenant and Dusknoir. That the Den is going to fly away on that air balloon. There's a Professor Research as well. That's the last supporter in his deck, but that's just going to mean more and more cards.
Yes. Probably won't need any more cards for the rest of the game. Malama's really sufficient on. Yeah, if you establish the board once, then it's
It's
fine
very hard
usually.
to get out of it. So there's a quick ball as well, filling up his deck. He's doing all the right choices. And there's also an Absol to... Wow, that's very evil, to be fair.
Yeah, that Absol probably more than the nail in the coffin right now, because the Beyblade Cephalon will now even have one retreat as well. So no free retreat.
Oh no. He draws another energy.
And now that he wasn't able to find them in the beginning of the game, right? He was digging
Yeah,
for
right, I
them
was
so
thinking about that.
desperately. And now he top decks them 2 times in a row after leaving himself vulnerable to that clutch Night Watch only. Like Yoshiyuki getting brought down to 0 cards in hand, and yeah, it's looking really devastating for him right now.
Indeed, indeed. And he tries to Distortion Door, putting 1 damage on 2 of another Pokemon, but that's not gonna be much in this situation. That Trevenant and Dusknoir is gonna get knocked out, And if Wataru is even able to, for example, have a great catcher, that's just gonna be game. If he actually, no, he can't one-shot the Dene, to be fair.
Yeah, the 150 is kind of like a low damage ceiling for the Trevenant Dustnoir. But the fact that, like, yeah, it's so disruptive, right? You get the knockout from the Pale Moon, if it goes through, coming back into your turn, that's already enough to most of the time swing the momentum of the matchup in a huge way, and also the disruption of Nightwatch. But yeah, we see the Blacephalon being promoted here. It's not like, yeah, also the Blacephalon wasn't even live that game, so Wataru also played around that just a little bit. And we see if he's able to. Yeah, he basically just needs to attack. But yeah, great catching the Dana is still the right play, I believe, because then you prevent your opponent from doing even anything, right? If you can
Exactly.
just
Also,
get it
that
stuck.
there's the Absol in play, so that's another point in positive for catching this Dana. You can even do 150 and let it run away, because then that Giratina might get knocked out. Or this is gonna make a Yoshiyuki game even harder. And there we go. 150. What does it draw? A Ditto.
Yeah, there's only the Ditto Prism Star, and then that's going to be the game. Yeah, as we see Yoshiyuki conceding, but we see the players from Japan, like overall, still doing really well, and I really, really like it. Like watching them, they play decks that are not that common, that popular. Like Mewtwo Melee has been picking up a little bit in
Indeed,
popularity, to be
indeed.
fair. But they
It's
are
a very
always.
interesting deck, as we saw it before. We saw it now, a mirror. It's a very interesting deck just for the fact that it can. It has a lot of options. It's a very fun deck, I think, also to play. Obviously, it's Malamar. If it wasn't for that, I think it would have been a really fun deck overall.
So yeah, we see Wataru moving on also to a 7-3 records. And I believe we will be back with round 11 after a short break.
Indeed. So, see you soon, guys. Stick around.